Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 13 of the Loose Balls podcast. My name is Ryan Heffernan. I'm one of your co-hosts. To my
Tristan,
right,
Maven.
Tristan, Mavdog Millionaire. To the left is Christopher Big Biggity Bean.
What up, Doe?
With the shockers.
What up, Doe?
Shock the world.
We're going to be talking about a lot of sports today. The NBA, the Masters coming up. Ovi got the record and the Final Four, of course. So we're going to leave timestamps in the description below. So if you guys want to move around and whatever, you guys could go right ahead and do that. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. And yeah, so we have a TikTok, YouTube, Loose Balls Pod 1 is the handle. And we drop sports trivia questions daily. So if you guys are interested in that, please go ahead and watch it. Without further ado, Bean, what'd it do?
Yeah, so if you're a new listener, thank you for listening. We very much appreciate the new following. Just a background on why we started this, because this is episode 13, like Hef said. So it is obviously still new. Just three lifelong friends shooting the shit about sports. And we thought, this is your average friend group just talking about sports. So we wanted to make a podcast out of it. And next week we'll be having our good friend Patrick Abraham on next week to talk about the NBA. So without further ado, boys, I'm wearing my Arsenal jersey, by the way. So just good news today in the Kroenke ownership group today, right? The KSC. Nothing else happened, right?
No, nothing else.
I don't.
Wait, hold on. I think there was something else.
Oh, there was shit. What was it?
There was a firing.
Oh,
really?
Really?
The whole kip
Sean McVay got fired today?
No, worse.
Oh,
Mike Malone and the GM. I don't know what the GM's name.
Yeah, Kelvin
of the
Booth.
Nuggets.
They
Both
got fired?
Both axed.
wait, maybe I have a question. Didn't they just win a title 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Interesting.
Something must have happened down there.
So, Bean, what are your thoughts? There's some reports that the GM and Mike Malone weren't getting along for a long time. Your reaction and really just state of the union of the Denver Nuggets, please.
Yeah, so my reaction is Maven said, I don't forget what you said. Like, you're like, holy shit, or something like that. And I'm at work, keep in mind, busy day today at work. And I said, what? Mm-hmm. And you said Michael Malone got fired.
Yeah.
And I think you sent the tweet or something. And I'm like, I clicked on the tweet immediately. I'm like, oh, this is fake. Late April Fool's joke.
Right.
And I was looking for a check mark, and my brain didn't process it at first. So for a second, I'm like, oh, it's just a parody count. And then I saw the blue check mark.
Yep.
I just walked out. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And then I sent you guys a video. And
speechless.
Great live reaction.
Yeah.
That was a great live reaction.
Yeah, check it out. It's on our X account. I retweeted it all. I think it's on our TikTok too, right, Hef?
Not as of now.
Well, it's on social media nonetheless. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Quick thing before we get into the State of the Union. That is, I think, the last 3 out of the 5 coaches that have won a title. So Mike Budenholzer in 2020, 21. And who was it in 2022, 23? That was the Nuggets.
Are you talking about?
And there's one other coach that got fired 2 years after
winning the
championship.
Was it the Raptors, Dwayne Casey?
No. It's drawing a blank, but he's the third coach in the last 5 titles.
Yep.
To get fired 2 years or sooner.
Nick Nurse got fired as well from the Raptors.
Right, and that was, I think, 3 years
Nick
after.
Nurse who got the title, yeah.
It was one other coach.
Pistons at that time, I think.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
But it's crazy. Like, it was Frank
Vogel.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm looking it up.
So
right now.
3 of the last 6, I think that would make it. And then, Nick Nurse also got fired.
Yep.
So it's just crazy, the parity in today's league. And obviously we touched on Jenkins last week. he obviously wasn't didn't win a title, but they were as far as the 2 seed or as high as a 2 seed this year, and he got canned with 9 games to go. So it's the NBA. It's no mercy. It's obviously no love lost, and the State of the Union. Obviously, they also fired. At first, when you said that, I'm like, oh, Kevin Booth made this firing because I knew they didn't get along. Michael Malone called him out at the beginning of the year, saying the roster construction was poor. And then there was obviously reports after they both got fired that they didn't see eye to eye on pretty much anything.
Yeah.
On how Michael Malone was setting his roster, who was getting minutes. Obviously, Booth wanted all the young guys that he drafted to play, and they weren't playing as much because Michael Malone, that's never really been his MO, is to play the young guys. They got to learn the system first, and then he eases them in kind of pretty much. Especially with a veteran-laden team, he's going to have his guys that have been there get the most playing time. And then obviously he signs Zeke Nagy, who barely played this year, to a 4-year extension. Dario Saric, which is probably the worst signing in a long time.
He's trash.
He doesn't even play anymore, not even in garbage time. So he had a lot of fault to it, and then clearly they just wanted to start anew with the head of the front office and the coaching staff. They were all of their contracts were expiring. So this is basically going to be a test for David Adelman, who is now the interim coach, his dad was the head coach too, and then they have another assistant, Flip Saunders' son. I believe his name's Ryan. Okay. So he's still there. So they're probably gonna try and see how those guys are. But I sent you guys. It was like a 4-minute interview with a Nuggets TV guy, and it was Josh Kroenke, Stan Kroenke's son, who runs the KSE, which is Kroenke Sports Entertainment, and he said how they were both going to make this move at the end of the year, firing Booth and Michael Malone, and so clearly he doesn't have faith, which is fine. And, it is what it is. It's hard to win a championship, and if you didn't see that, that's fine. But he still went on to say, "Yeah, I hope David Adelman can make a run and we can win a title." But it's like, if you were planning on making this firing and now you're expecting to win a championship, it's just like he's just saying all the right things, and he's not going out of pocket. But I'll be rooting for the Nuggets this postseason. But at this rate, we'll get into it in a little bit. There's 6 teams within 2 games of each other from 3rd to 8, so they could very well be in the play-in. And if they're in the play-in, then there's a realistic chance that they don't even make the playoffs. So I'll root for them this year. But I was thinking, like, last week when they're on a 4-game losing streak too, so that's why they decided to do it. It's just so draining. And then rooting for the Pistons too. Yeah. And now the Pistons are getting good. I was thinking, like, I don't know if I can root for the Nuggets. It's so draining, and there's a realistic chance that maybe, what if these teams somehow play in the finals? Like, I'm going to have a big, like, I'm going to be contradicting myself if they somehow. So I think it's time after this year. I'm off the Nuggets for good. I'll still root for their players. But
Daddy.
I think I'm out rooting for them, supporting them like they're my team.
Is there anything that could change that, or is that your official? Is that official? Is that in the books?
Obviously, winning a title would help, but like I just said, I think this is a sign because it's time to go all in on the Pistons. There's no time for a new team because there's a background. If you didn't know, 7 years ago, I stopped rooting for the Pistons I had a 1-year ban because they signed Zaza Pachulia, and that was ironically the last time they made the playoffs. And I'm like, they're gonna fuck around, get the 8th seed, and lose 4 games, and that's exactly what they did. And I didn't plan on it, but the Nuggets appealed. I really liked how they played. It was appealing. They played hard for Malone. They played defense, which defense was getting away in the NBA at the time, and they didn't make the playoffs. That was the first year they made the playoffs. They were the 2 seed in the West, and ended up losing in the second round.
The Warriors?
The Warriors went to the finals that year. They lost to the Trailblazers in 7 games that year.
Oh.
And then it just progressed every year. And then obviously I got a title out of it. It was cool. But no, very draining, and obviously they've been title contenders every year since then, and just the way they've been playing down the stretch and all the injuries this year, and they haven't really played as a full group, which that's another thing too. It's like Jamal Murray didn't play in the last 4 games during this losing streak. So clearly, obviously, like you said, they were planning on this move, but I don't get why you just don't play it out. But maybe he thought, what if they fuck around somehow and they win?
Yeah,
clearly they wanted a new direction.
The timing is so peculiar, and it begs the question: are they going to go? Do they feel like they can compete? And if he is saying that, then why not go with the guy that is the all-time winningest coach in Nuggets history that won the championship, and see if he can do it again, unless the relationship with the players are completely fractured. Because if it's just the relationship between the GM and the coach, it's like that's been going on for, it seems like years, at least from the reports. So it must be the relationship between the players and the coaches, or the coach, Mike Malone.
So I was just about to say this too. It's like, I think the relationship between Booth and Malone trickled in. Obviously they didn't get along with each other. I think it trickled down to the players, the training staff, the coaches, and it just affected them, and
just affected everything.
I think the players still love Malone. They always will, but I think it kind of went south.
Well, you saw that video too.
Yeah,
the one that
that was before the losing streak. They weren't playing. It's not like they were playing.
Yeah, I know, but it sounded like he lost the locker room or something, because he was saying after the game against the Trailblazers, where they lost 129 to 108, he was saying, I tell these guys to watch film, and then the people who don't care say, "Coach, you're tripping," and then the ones who do care say something else. It just seems like you don't really, you're just putting down your players when you say that, and I feel like something's going on in that locker room where they're not completely on the same page.
Yeah, no, it clearly went south in a hurry, and I think he was probably talking about the younger guys in that.
Strother and...
Yeah, well, Strother was hurt, but he's probably definitely in that.
I can't see Braun being that guy, though.
No, probably P. Watt.
Yeah.
Najee, definitely MPJ.
It's funny because I thought of Westbrook right away, because remember that meme of him saying, "Y'all tripping," So when Mike Malone said tripping, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, it's probably Westbrook.
Yeah. But no, it clearly, I don't think he hated his players as much, because he was a good players coach, but clearly the tension up top trickled down to everyone else, and I think that's why they made the move. But like I said, for a good minute, I really thought you got duped, Maven. I'm like, haha, idiot. You got tripped up. But Shams has been, first year at ESPN, he's been on an all-time heater.
He has been.
I mean,
Woj must be feeling like...
I don't think Woj gives a fuck.
You don't think he feels left out with all this?
Woj definitely cares.
Yeah.
Did you see Woj started selling off memorabilia, Woj memorabilia?
Yeah, that's cool. You wouldn't want that, his phones?
Yeah, buying a Woj phone. What are you going to do with that?
Say I got Woj bombs right here in my hand. Also, maybe he's a rival of yours now, so I think that's why.
He is?
He's GM of St. Bonnie's basketball team.
Oh, that's right, St. Bonnie's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Woj is definitely fuming that he wasn't able to break these huge bombs. My question is, for you being, if Mike Malone, will you still be a fan of Mike Malone? There have been
I
some
hope the Pistons
reports,
get him.
There's been some reports, though, that he may be
as
Popovich's replacement. If Pop can't continue, maybe he goes to the Spurs. Are you a
Spurs
Spurs fan?
Auto dynasty. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't hate him, but like I said, I gotta go all in on the Pistons. I hope he doesn't get a head coaching job, and I hope we get him as an assistant. His dad was an assistant here when the Bad Boys. Bad Boys.
Okay, there's a connection there.
But he probably will get a good job.
He's a great coach.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, it's great. And here's one more thing too. We brought it up earlier with all these coaches getting fired. It's ironic too because he was part of the Kings. He got fired, and he was kind of trashing the Kings a little bit because he coached under Mike Brown when LeBron was in Cleveland, and he was like, man, the Kings, like, they're just basically tripping getting rid of Mike Brown, a great coach, calling him a trash organization, and then obviously he gets fired several months later. So it's this year it's probably been the greatest parody in the NBA in a long time. Like if you made a television show, it wouldn't really be believable.
I feel. What you mean, like parody isn't like anyone could win? Is that what you mean?
No. Well, yes, but just like everything that's happened with the Luka trade, the firings this season, the De'Aaron Fox getting traded.
A lot of drama, you're saying?
Yeah. Okay. We've had two teams that won 60 games before the month of April. Like just
two crazy teams that were, you didn't really expect that from the Cavs.
Yeah. And Thunder, yes, but the Cavs, not really.
Exactly. Thunder, we knew, like, once they lost that series of the Mavericks when they were up 3-2, we knew they would be back. We knew that, their players just needed to get a little older and more experienced in the playoffs. So we knew they'd be back. But, yeah, the parity in the NBA right now is good. It's good. The Celtics, I hope they don't just, take – I don't know. They just are so loaded, man. It scares me.
It's gonna be them and the Cavs, I think, in the Eastern Conference Final.
Well, now the Pistons have you fully on board, so who knows?
I mean,
may just be the juice they need.
Cavs have a lot of pressure.
I feel like the more the pressure's on the Celtics.
No, I disagree. Celtics already won. Well, the thing is, the Cavs, like, I feel like they always make the playoffs, like 3-4 seed. And, they never really get it done in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell, like, has he made how many conference finals has he made? Do you know?
I don't think he's made one.
I don't think he's even made one. So, like, they finally become, like, super good. But they all know, like, their record's this good, but they got to perform in the playoffs.
Sure.
So, like, I think all the pressure's on them.
But are they in terms of expectations, like you said, nobody really expected the Cavs to be where they are. Like, everybody expected the Celtics. Obviously, they came into the season being the odds-on favorite to win it all. So they have the pressure of expectations, whether to me is a good thing. Like, it's good to have expectations, but that's more pressure on them, in my opinion, than the Cavs.
Yeah, but, like, it's hard to win back-to-back.
It is.
And it's just hard to do. Like, they're not going to be getting that much shit if they don't win it this year, depending on how they lose. Like, the people who would be getting it would probably be those, like Donovan Mitchell. Like, see if he could get it done in the playoffs finally, or Tatum. He already won his championship. But, like, people like me, like, I guess. Like,
but there are doubters. Like, we talked about it before. No, I don't think on the pod, but, just shooting the shit off air. But, like, they sort of had an easy run last year going through the East.
Yeah, because they played the first round. They played the Heat without Jimmy.
Right.
Second round was
Cavs,
the Cavs without Spida for, like, after Game 3.
Right.
And then the Eastern Conference Finals was the Pacers without Halliburton.
Yep.
And then they played the Mavs full strength.
Yeah. And Luka was hobbled for that series.
And Luka was, Yeah. So I guess, but, like, I feel like most people don't think like that. Most people don't remember that stuff. They just remember the championship. That's how I feel. Like that's how I think about it. But I feel like that's not how everyone thinks about it.
Sure.
So, in my eyes, I feel like they would have pressure. But like, to like what, like no one's saying that stuff out loud, like to the media and stuff. I feel like I don't hear them saying that. And then Tatum's like, "Oh yeah, like we got to win it when everyone's full health strength." You know, I don't know if that's even going through his mind.
I don't know.
I hope it is. But yeah, the West is loaded right now, gentlemen. We got Lakers 48-30, Nuggets 47-32, Clippers, Warriors, Timberwolves, Grizzlies 46-32. All ranging from the 3 to the 8 slot. So this last week is going to loom large for every single franchise. So it's going to be a great week to watch. Lakers are playing OKC right now. And I think all these teams play tonight. Warriors play the Suns on TNT later tonight. Some good stuff.
So just going off of the favorites, I believe the odds-on favorites right now to make the finals out of the East and West respectively are the Thunder, Lakers in the West. You got the Cavs and the Celtics in the East. In each conference, what team other than those two top favorites could make a run in your eyes to the finals?
What do you think, Bean?
Sorry, which other teams?
Yeah, other than those two top favorites.
The Warriors, for sure, in the West. I was still holding on hope with the Nuggets, but I'm just hoping that they make the playoffs at this point.
You need Murray to be healthy.
Yeah, which I thought they, like last year, they went in the into the playoffs. Obviously, a year coming off an NBA run, so they were gassed. And so I'm like, oh, maybe they're just trying to make sure they're all healthy going into the playoffs. And obviously, today's news it just kind of blew up that whole method. So definitely the Warriors. It depends where Minnesota, the draw they get. It's going to be tough for them because if they're going to be on the road, it looks like either way. But I like them too. Obviously, they went to the Western Conference Finals, so it'd probably be those two teams. And then in the East, there's not really a team that I love outside those two teams. I think they're just both those teams are on a collision course to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm hoping that the Pistons, it's looking like they're going to play the Knicks. I hope they can beat them in round one. But I don't see them beating Boston. It would be Boston they would play in the second round, and then I don't see Indy or Milwaukee beating the Cavaliers. So I guess gun to head, it would probably be the Knicks just because they're the highest seed of them all. They've been playing the best basketball.
And they have the talent to stack up to those teams, but their record against the top teams in the NBA is very poor. So
yeah, but Brunson, I know he just came back, but that injury, and then obviously last year he got hurt in Game 7. So they put a lot on their players, and going forward, it's going to be the depth. When the Knicks get depth, I think they'll be a legit contender. But until then, I don't see them beating the Boston or Cleveland this year.
Yeah, they got a good starting lineup, and as I said, like before, like off the pod, they're the one team I'm not going to rule out. They're the one team I'm not ruling out. Yes, they're like whatever they are, like 3-11 against the top teams. I understand that, but Jalen Brunson, he was a playoff performer last year.
Sure,
he was a playoff performer. So
he has been since his Mavs days.
Yeah, and he's obviously like he hasn't had many of those moments, and he rose to the occasion on that one. So maybe he's like that Jimmy Butler-esque player where he improves in the playoffs too. So I'm not ruling him out. He also won a clutch player. He's good in the playoffs. He's a good playoff performer, and I could see them win I could see it. It's not like it's going to happen. It's probably going to be the Celtics or Cavs. I'm still not sure on who I'm picking. I'm probably picking the Celtics right now just because I need to, they're loaded from like 1 through 9.
Yeah. And
Cavs would be second, Knicks would be third. But then in the West, that it just gets interesting because, like a month ago we were talking about how loaded the West is.
Right.
Like, any one of these teams could really make it to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Taylor Jenkins gets tossed. Now Mike Malone gets tossed. And then it's weird because, like, the top two teams are still, like, pretty inexperienced.
Sure.
And young, so, like, not a lot of people trust them yet.
Yep.
So, like, it's just interesting, man, because, like, they're the top seeds, and then there's teams that lost their coaches, and then there's the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going. Did you say what besides the Rockets and Thunder?
No, other than the Lakers and the Thunder, because they're the betting favorites in the West.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Rockets too. They're playing. I mean, they got hot last year. They didn't make the play-in.
But do you see them making the finals?
No, not this year. But I mean, they're playing.
They're not
their
going
best
away
basketball
anytime soon. That's for sure.
They're playing their best basketball at the right time of year. And I was just looking at the 6 teams that are within 2 games of each other. Lakers don't play anyone else in those 6 teams. So I think that's going to benefit them. But they do play, like I said, they're playing Thunder right now and Houston.
Yep.
But I think they'll just have to win 2 more games. They have to get to, I think 50 is the magic number to get the 3 seed. And then the Clippers and Warriors playing the last game of the year, and then the Grizzlies play Denver and Minnesota. That is the most games out of any of those teams head to head. So they play 2 more games against those teams, and then obviously Denver plays Memphis and Timberwolves play Memphis too. So I think those games, whoever wins those games, I think they're gonna get the better seed. So it's crazy. Like the play-in game was implemented basically 7 years ago after the T-Wolves and the Nuggets played game 82 for the 8th seed, and the loser had 46 wins on the year, I believe. So and the West really hasn't lost any of its firepower in the last. I mean, it's been consistent. Yeah. Obviously, there's been new teams and new champions out of the West year in and year out, but consistently the best conference in the league. I think it's crazy how close those teams are, and I thought last year we would get a really good playoffs coming out of the West, and we had a good conference semifinal matchup between Memphis. I guess the two series in that year. The Thunder lost in 6 to the Mavericks, and obviously Game 7 between the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. But the Western Conference Finals, it could have been easily a sweep. So I think this year, and the first round was pretty much a dud too. So I think this year we're going to get, I think most of the series is going to be very competitive. And I think they're going to show how close these teams really are, because, I mean, really, it's a game here and there that's going to predict the 3 seed and the 8 seed. And obviously the 7 and 8 seed, they have to win to get in, obviously, with the play-in. So
it's going to be interesting.
I think the 7 and 8 seed this year, I think they'll get in. I think they're both better than whoever they'll have to play.
The Kings and the Mavericks.
Yeah, I think they'll easily win that game. But then you're rewarded with playing the Thunder in the first round. So it's going to be, obviously you want to the highest seed as possible, and it's just at least, and the T-Wolves are in the 6th seed right now. I think if you're in that position, obviously you'll have to play the Lakers. I think that's still huge. Avoiding the play-in is the main goal. I think the top 6 teams, I think anyone can realistically win. But the big goal is to, because I think the 6th seed too would be in better position than the 4 or 5 seed, because then you avoid the Thunder in the second round.
Yeah.
So I think realistically, this top 6 teams will have a chance, and I think the last week is going to be very entertaining to see where those teams line up.
Definitely.
Come Sunday.
Can't wait. We're
All right, moving on. Any other things, boys, before we move on?
With the NBA, no.
Go Lake
right.
Show.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have our good friend P on next week, who is a true Lake Show fan, unlike yourself, Ryan.
I'm true.
You were at one point, but not anymore.
I got my Kobe jersey on when I was 10 years old. I could show you a pic.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But
I do. I got it. Purple jersey from the Staples Center.
That's never changed. Your Laker fandom has been constant since then.
Ever since LeBron came, I just loved him, man.
Yeah, you're a true LeBron fan. LeBron stan.
No, ever since LeBron joined, I hated him. But then,
$16,000 changed that.
Yeah, exactly. If they win,
And
if they
Luka.
win it all, everything I said about LeBron that was bad,
Well,
I'll
you'll find a way to say it was all Luka and not LeBron. So
Yeah, we'll see how it
That's
goes.
true. That's the spin. That's what it's going to be.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it's going to be. Luka and Reeves took him to the finals.
I
won it
honestly
all.
don't hate, like I said this last year too. I more so don't like the Warriors than the Lakers. Like when the Lakers and Warriors played that like 2 years ago, I was cheering for LeBron.
But who were you cheering for when it was Lakers Cavs or Warriors Cavs?
Warriors Cavs. I was cheering for LeBron.
No, that's false. It was the
was.
Warriors.
No, I swear to God, I hate.
Well,
Steph.
we'll have P on next week. He can back
That's
that
true.
up.
P is the historian on
my
Habs
life.
fandom.
Ever since he joined the Cavs the second time, I hated Steph more.
Yeah, but you were rooting for the Warriors to win
How do you know that?
because we watched the game, J.R. Smith game 1 of the NBA Finals 2018.
No,
We were in
that was
P's
when
basement.
that was when they had KD. I hated Steph. What are you talking? I hated them.
Yeah, but you wanted the Warriors to win.
That's just so false.
I think Bean is right.
And we had a group chat too. I remember
so false.
I
hated Steph.
we had a group chat too. Sophomore year, I think it was the Warriors' first, or maybe it was the 2016 final. It was me, you, Frankie, a couple other kids, and it was me and Frankie for LeBron, and you were with the Warriors.
That checks out.
I think that's a lie.
But the group chat.
What group chat?
The one he was just talking about where you're not paying attention.
Do you think?
The group chat.
Can he pull it up?
I don't know. It's up
Maybe
here.
it's somewhere.
I know what I was thinking because I was really happy when
I don't know. I think Bean knows more about what you were thinking than what you were thinking.
I mean, we lived it, so it's hard to.
No, when
Go
Kyrie hit
against
that
that.
shot, I was lit.
That was sick.
No, that's false. But anyways, you were a bitch. You always said. He always said about how Draymond if Draymond didn't get suspended in Game 5, the Lakers wouldn't have won,
Oh, that's true.
or
Yeah,
the
that I
Cavs
know.
wouldn't have won.
Well, I didn't like either team.
Oh, so now you're going back.
Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, back to saying
I understand you didn't like Steph, but you were still rooting for them.
I was
Things can be true.
not.
But anyways,
More
Moving
NBA talk
on.
next week.
yep. Like we said, we're having P on. P can back all those things up too. But nonetheless, moving on, Mabin. I wanted to lead off with this very badly, but the news today, I was to change that. But Ovi, all-time leading scorer in
Yep.
NHL history.
Yep.
This segment's all you, boy. Take it over.
It was a beautiful moment. It's great that he was able to tie the record at home in front of the hometown fans. Gretzky in the building. I thought Gretzky handled it so perfectly, and it was great to see an all-time player praising somebody who's broke his record and giving him all of his flowers. Unlike like a league in the NBA where it seems like all the legend players sort of bash the current players. So it was
Shout
a great
out Shaq.
gesture. Yeah, shout out Shaq. Great gesture by the great one towards the grade 8 for breaking his record, and he broke it in. It got everybody to watch a New York Islanders game, which never happens. And the goal that he scored was so sick too. It was near his office. Gretzky had his office behind the net, and Ovi sort of has his over on the wing where he takes his one-timers, and a little unconventional where it was just a little bit away from usually where he scores his goals. But then the celebration afterwards, just pure joy and happiness. They had a great ceremony after. And you sort of forgot about, there's a game that's supposed to be played. They stopped for like 20 minutes, half hour to have a ceremony, and I was tearing up a little bit. It was a beautiful moment, and he's the greatest goal scorer of all time, and it's a pleasure to watch him play all these years.
Yeah, it was on Friday. It was crazy. Or maybe was it Saturday when he tied the record?
It was Friday when he it was Thursday when he tied it. Yeah. And then Saturday when he broke it.
Yeah, and Thursday I was at work. I had to keep my eye on that game.
Or was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday.
Sunday he broke the record.
Yeah.
And when I was at work, I had to keep my eye on Ovi, and little, did I know he was going to tie the record. Mm-hmm. And it was very cool that Gretzky was there. Mm-hmm. It was he said it too on Sunday when Ovi broke the record in New York. He said he had his Gordie Howe pin. I don't know if you saw it, cool. Number 9.
Yep.
He said he handled it with grace, and he wanted to return the favor to Ovi. Mm-hmm. And it was cool because his wife was obviously there too, Gretzky, and his wife said that.
Smoke.
Yeah, and Ovechkin's wife. Whew.
Yeah.
But Ovechkin's wife's hot.
Oh yeah.
His mom's scary though, maybe. She could play nose guard.
Old Russian lady.
She could play nose guard.
I feel like they all have
in the
to be
NFL.
scary.
Nose guard.
Yeah, she's I don't get on her bad side.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, his Gretzky's wife said that Gordie Howe's wife wrote a letter to.
What?
I'm gonna show that on the camera. Half what you just did.
Yeah, she's good looking.
Gretzky's wife said Gordie Howe's wife wrote a letter.
Yep.
So she wrote a letter to Ovechkin's wife. So a lot of very cool things. The ceremony is what makes sports great. And in the NHL, like at the end of the 7-game series, if the road team wins, or I guess in the Stanley Cup, if the road team wins, the home team's there to clap while they receive the cup.
Yep.
And very similar thing, the Islanders, like you would have thought it was a Washington home game.
Right.
They were awesome. So a very, very cool sports moment. And yeah, greatest goal scorer. I don't think it's, without a doubt now, obviously the record, but to do it, he's been in the league 20 years.
Yeah.
To do it at that high of a rate.
And he did it at the same pace.
Yeah,
he scored the goal in the same he broke the record in the same amount of games that Gretzky played, and it was really cool too. They had a lot of his former teammates. Nick Backstrom was there, who was a part of many of the goals that he scored. TJ Oshie, Braden Holtby, a lot of the Mike Green, who was a former Red Wing as well.
Yep.
A lot of his former teammates who, sort of was there to sort of witness Ovi's, whole career, and it was just an encapsulation of how great the sport of hockey is, and it was great to see just a celebration of it of an all-time player.
Was it all freaking Caps fans in that stadium? Like, or
there was a lot of Caps fans.
It was like it looked like a home game.
Well, there's not a lot of Islanders fans.
That's true.
Other than Frank.
Frankie
Borelli?
Frankie Borelli, yeah.
Shout out Frankie.
But yeah, it was the Islanders did it well. Handled it with class. Same thing with the Blackhawks. Once he tied the record, they
that was cool.
They handled it with class as well. So, I mean, you can nothing but appreciation for a great all-time athlete.
No, yeah, that's what made it such a cool moment. Is because, it was like a home game.
Mm-hmm.
It was that was awesome. And one thing too, which was crazy, maybe Ovi's super goal, probably his greatest goal, 20 years ago in 2006. I think it was his rookie year.
Yeah.
Against the Blues, when he was sliding to the
Coyotes.
Ground. Oh, was it the Coyotes?
And the head coach was Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That goalie was a commentator for the Islanders. So
really?
That's a full circle moment too.
The other thing too, 20 years ago to the date when he broke the record was when the Caps drafted him.
Yeah. So freaking wild. I just I mean it's so cool, and I remember giving you shit back in the day when he couldn't get past Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, for a long time.
And couldn't get past the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And then he obviously beat Vegas 8 or 7 years ago. So I'm going to be rooting hard. If the Red Wings don't make it, maybe, I'll be rooting hard for the Capitals.
Yeah, at least he's got a ring,
Yeah.
It probably would have been a lot different if he didn't have the ring.
It would
have been so many, haters.
It would be.
Right.
There was a massive, there was a massive monkey on his back before they finally got it done. And they couldn't even get past the second round for such a long time. And, it was a special moment where they finally beat the Penguins in the second round in overtime. And then after that, it was sort of just, it was manifest destiny from that standpoint, from that moment on. And
that was almost like the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
because I think they cruised to the title after.
They did. They had to play the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I believe they won in 6, and then they beat the Knights in 5, I believe. Yep. And they have a good roster now. It looked for a little bit there that it would just be about the Caps would just be about getting Ovi the record, but they've been able to rebuild this roster, and they have a legit squad who who knows, they could win it all. I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, I think that's the craziest part of this whole thing too, because we knew Ovi was going to get it regardless. Maybe we didn't think it this year, although I said 2 years ago that he's going to get it in 2 years.
Well, the fact that he broke his and
he broke his leg.
Scored to tie the game. The fact that he broke his fibula and missed, a good chunk of the year, and he still put up a 40-goal year at 39 years old. It's incredible. It's incredible, really.
And he's only missed 35 games in his career, which is
been
insane
so durable
to think.
Yeah.
There was one thing I was gonna say, but it's crazy. Yes, they wanted get this record for him, but to reconstruct this team and now to they can potentially be the President's Trophy winners, and they're going to be the top seed in the East. They have a legit chance to win it all. So it's Caps they're hot right now. And did you guys see his when he hit a hole in one? Did you know this story, Hef?
Oh yeah. He hit a hole in one, and he was like, "I just hit a hole." He just acted like nothing happened.
Well, no, he was going crazy a little bit.
It was his first time golfing or something.
Yeah. Have you seen the video, Maben?
No, I have not.
Let me pull it up. I'm gonna turn it up all the way. It's such a funny video. But it was right before the season, and he's like, "I hit it." I think he was a rookie or something, or maybe it was his second year. It was right before the season started. I think.
God, he looks so young.
Yeah, let me hold on.
2007, I think.
06 or 07, something like that.
I could pull up the video on here.
Yeah, it's taking me a minute.
Yeah, 1 sec. Ovechkin, hole in one.
Their annual charity golf tournament, Alex Ovechkin. He's never golfed before. Had to borrow clubs from his teammates.
Never golfed before.
Matt Pettinger getting a kick out of Ovechkin's attempts.
It's practice, don't worry.
On the par 3 160-yard fourth, 3 bounces and in for the ace.
No way.
Tiger, where are you? Tiger. I hit it.
I hit it.
Yeah.
In one shot.
I shot the without and I got it. I swear to God.
That's sick.
That's great.
He's an athlete. He's just good at everything.
Best parts come.
Golden ball. Number 3, top line.
Oh, where's the part?
Well, I watched a couple license. Tiger.
That's great.
Yeah, he was like. Oh, yeah, here's the video I saw.
My first golf game, and I scored 1 shot. And I shot it and I scored. Then I jumped and screaming, and
what's so happened? I said, where is Tiger? I didn't see Tiger here.
I didn't see Tiger. That's a great best part of that
That's
video.
what's got to be on his tombstone. I shot it and I score.
Yes. He thought it was hockey. Like he didn't.
That's just what he does.
Yep.
That's just what he does.
But no, that was great. And
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because he got a hole-in-one because, like, dude, people, like, go their whole lives without getting a hole-in-one, you know? And he just got one, like, the first time.
It's
he
just
probably ever
natural to
golfed.
him. You give him something to swing with and a goal, and he's going to put it in.
If I didn't get my hole-in-one last year, I would have watched that video in disgust. Be like, come on, like, how did I not get one yet? You know?
But the video shows like he whiffs a couple times at the tee box.
Yeah.
And then, but it doesn't matter. It's still.
You'll find a way.
Yeah. But yeah, just a natural goal scorer. And I have one. Been meaning to tell a story, but I was waiting for him to break the record.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009 or 2010, when me and Maven went to Our Lady of Sorrows, we had a kid who also loved Ovechkin, and he had a Alex Ovechkin player card in his locker.
Okay.
And we had this other kid named Raymond Ernst. Maybe you know where I'm going with this story.
Wait, I don't.
And he
This
knew
could
nothing.
go anywhere.
He knew nothing about sports.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know.
And
okay.
we were just like outside the locker, and he said his name. He said Alexander Ovechkin.
Ovechkin.
Yeah, and we were like, Maben, come here. Raymond, say that name again. Yeah, that's Alexander Ovechkin.
Ovechkin.
And we lost it. So it's a running joke in our friend group.
Who said that?
Raymond Ernst. Shout out Raymond Ernst.
You wouldn't know him. He went to
He
CC.
listened?
Hopefully.
Maybe. You never know.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, Alexander Ovechkin is
Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer ever.
Yeah, who would have thought 15 years ago, maybe. But yeah, shout out to Ovi.
Hell yeah.
Shout out.
But going into, we just talked about how Ovi hit a hole-in-one. It is that time of year, the greatest golf tournament of the year. It is the Masters, and obviously one of the greatest sporting events we look forward to every year. So just give us a quick breakdown on what you're expecting to happen. And I texted you today, big tee time at 1:12 on Thursday between Ludwig Oberg and Rory McIlroy. So
I'm so excited.
Is that this Thursday or next Thursday?
This Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
give us your thoughts, Huff.
My thoughts are it's the best tournament ever. It's the most fun thing ever. Nothing like Augusta. You know, once these players hit Augusta week, you know, all of them just kick into gear, and it's just really the start of the major season, and I'm very excited for it. And if I had to pick top three guys,
Quick question before you get into this. Did you believe Tiger Woods' tweet at all?
no, I knew right away because I got April Fools at like 12:04 a.m. It was Hunter Dickinson getting like an 8th year.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I got April Fools there. So then like I woke up and Scott Combs sent that.
Yeah.
And I knew right away it was fake.
Did you believe that at all, Bean?
No, I saw it on Twitter, or no, I heard it on a podcast. So I didn't I already knew it was fake. But no, shout out Tiger trying to fool the people.
But yeah, my top three would be Ludwig Oberg.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ludwig Oberg has the best swing in golf, up there with Rory. And there's this up and coming guy that I can't remember his name. He has like a really slow swing, like super slow, and it's like Tempo Town City. I forgot who it is, but keep an eye on him. I can't even think of his name.
Okay.
But
yeah,
keep an eye on the guy. I don't know his name.
yeah, keep an eye on.
Whoever's got a slow swing and is a rookie.
Yeah, he's young. I don't think he's a rookie. And then Morikawa. Morikawa
Shout out Nate.
You know, he had one of the best years last year for not winning a tournament. He finished second multiple times. I think he finished second in the Masters or in one of the majors as well, maybe two of them. But, yeah, Morikawa so far this year has the best ball striking out of anyone, including Rory, who's won a couple tournaments, won the Players, and he won another tournament. Was it the Genesis? I don't really remember exactly. But
no, Oberg won the Genesis.
Oh, Oberg won the Genesis.
It was a tournament, I think, right before that.
Yeah, but my top three are Oberg, Morikawa, and Rory. I think one of those three are going to win.
And slow swing.
Yep.
And slow swing, dude.
Yeah.
I want to. I can't believe I can't think of his name.
So feeling good about Rory's chances.
I am.
He's playing good golf right now.
It's got to be now or never for him, right, Huff?
100%. I think if he doesn't win it this year, I don't know if I want to say that either. If he doesn't win it this year, though, it'll be harder for me to believe that he'll ever win another year.
Really?
I just, it's just
because it's just getting in his head more and more.
Sure.
And obviously the Master, he has never won the Masters, but it's been now 11 years. So like that, it's a 10-year gap where he's played supposedly right the prime of his career, and he hasn't won one. So if he doesn't get the monkey off the back soon, even though he's going to be around for at least 15 more years, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like he's playing great. Like he's usually in the top 3 to 5 golfers every year going in and coming out. But the thing is like 2 years ago at the U.S. Open, it was pretty much him versus Wyndham Clark, and Wyndham Clark beat him out like outright, fair and square. And then last year at the U.S. Open, he misses a 3-foot putt and chokes it away, and then he leaves without doing any interviews because he was just fucking heartbroken.
Sure.
Like he was like, how many times do I have to like fucking get this far and lose?
Yeah. Right.
So he's got to win one this year, man. He's got to. Like if he doesn't win one this year, I don't know. Like he has to. There's no way he doesn't. Like I don't know. If I had to guess, it would probably be the U.S. Open because like he usually plays great at the U.S. Opens.
Should have won last year.
Should have won last year and could have won the year before. Actually, no, 3 years ago because I think Brian Harmon won.
It's one in Boston, right? Was it Brookline?
It might have been.
When Fitzpatrick won?
I'm talking about the one that Wyndham won.
Oh yeah, that was in L.A.
Yeah, that wasn't the year before. I think Brian Harmon won one too, or is that the British?
He won the British.
Oh, he did? Okay,
Yeah.
so then, the Wyndham one was 2 years ago. But, yeah, Masters Week, can't wait. Go Rory.
If you had to pick a dark horse, someone maybe that's under the radar that could win it all, win a green jacket, who would that be?
That's the guy I'm kind of thinking of, but I
Okay,
don't know his name.
got to look out for the slow swing.
No, he's
slow swing. Shout out slow swing.
I'm looking at all the golfers
Do
right
you have any
now.
names? Any dark horses here?
I think so. He just won his first PGA Tour event 2 weeks ago, and I didn't know this, but he's got the front 9 record at Augusta. Is Minwoo Lee.
Minwoo who?
Minwoo Lee. So
Lee.
this guy's electric. Maybe he's a YouTube golfer. I think he's always been a golfer, but like he's big on YouTube and big on social media, TikTok, all that good stuff. But he's Asian, but he's from Australia.
Oh, I couldn't tell that he was Asian.
So but if you heard him talk, you would be like, this guy's Asian? Like if you just heard him over the phone or over audio, like podcast.
Okay.
You would, oh yeah, this guy's an Aussie.
He's got no issues with his L's.
Yes, but yeah, I can't speak on that too much, but yeah, if you count Victor Hovland, he's never won a major. I don't know if he's necessarily under the radar, but he was.
Hey, Victor Hovland is plus 4,000.
Yeah,
so he's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Under the radar.
That's a good.
Who's
good
the
bet.
top 3 right now on the odds?
So top 10. I'm just gonna go top 10. Okay. Scheffler, Rory, Rahm, Morikawa, Xander, Bryson, Ludwig Oberg, Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, Hideki, Spieth, Hovland, Fleetwood. That's like 13, but yeah.
Well, it's probably tied, right?
Cantley, Cantley usually plays pretty well at the Masters. He has
What about
never won a
Koepka?
major.
I know Koepka's a big-time performer in big-time moments.
Yeah, he's never won Masters, and I was just about to say, like, how I think Cantley is on that list. Schauffele's been close. those are guys that, well, Cantley hasn't won a major, but obviously Brooks and Schauffele and DeChambeau have won majors. I think it's going to be a guy that is going to win the Masters for the first time. Rory's in that conversation too, or their first major period.
Has Cantwell won the Masters?
No, he's been close a couple times. He finished second when Tiger won in 2019. He missed a close birdie putt on 17 and 18, and he would have just obviously needed to make one of those to force a playoff against Tiger. But I think it's going to be a first-time winner at Augusta, whether it's a first-time major winner or not. I just have a feeling that so many good golfers at the top that are looking for their first green jacket. So.
What about Max Homa? I know he was in the mix last year, right?
Yeah, but that was like the last time he's played good golf.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't been playing consistent golf in the last year. It's a guy that can do it, but again, can he?
I don't even see Homa on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's how poor he's been.
Is he in this tournament? No, I'm not. Holy shit!
What is he?
What's his odds?
Dude, he's like 50th.
Yeah.
He's
Plus what?
plus 35,000. That's crazy.
That might be good.
They have to take a flyer on that.
$5
top
wins
10.
$1,755.
They have to take a flyer.
On it. How bad has he been playing? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
that was his last good golf tournament. That was a year ago. That's
Wow.
how quickly things can turn around, maybe.
It's a mental game. It's all mental.
Yeah, but that was his last good tournament. Maybe top 10. I'm sure that's a lot.
I think he's
plus
actually.
30
I think he's actually closer to like 70th.
Yeah,
Which is crazy.
Yeah, he may be like that. Would be a good off the radar because he's just been so poor of late. But again, he played well last year. And thing about Augusta too is you have to have experience. It's kind of like the playoffs. You have to have experience, and you've had to have gone, through the ringer a couple times and have played it a couple times to win it. So. That's why Oberg last year was so impressive. He finished second. That was his first major ever. Not just first time at Augusta, but first major ever. And
wow.
He came in second. So I'm going to go and say it. I think he's going to win.
I do too.
He's definitely in that category of first-time winner.
What's Oberg's odds?
Like plus 4,000.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Oberg is... No, my bad. I was wrong. Plus 2,200.
Is
That's
he
still
in
really
the top
good
10?
odds.
Scheffler and Rory are the only ones in the plus like triple digits. Scheffler's plus 400, Rory's plus 650, and then the next third is plus 1,300 with Rom.
Plus 400 is crazy.
Tega hit me up today and he asked me like who I think's winning.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Tega's in the thick of it.
Plus
The gambling community.
Plus 400 is like what Tiger was too. Like Tiger would be in the minus sometimes, but
Tiger would be
Right.
like minus 110 to win like the Masters. Shit was crazy.
yeah.
My dad, like when my dad was at Bay Point, like you were able to bet on golfers to win the majors,
Right.
but they took Tiger's name out because it's
rigged.
It's just rigged if you get Tiger.
It's
Yeah.
rigged.
It's like-
Well, he was gonna win, so it was rigged anyways.
Right.
But no, Scheffler's obviously won 2 out of the last 3, but I really do think it's gonna be. I'm picking Oberg, but I think it's gonna be guys like Rory, Schauffele, Brooks. Rahm has won it. He won it 2 years ago, so I'm taking Rahm out of there. I have a feeling that it's not. Most golfers haven't won this tournament, so I'm not. It's not like I'm going on a limb. But
What about Spieth? I haven't heard any Spieth talk.
yeah, he's he's just so hot and cold.
He's
And
won a Masters, right?
Yeah, it's 10 years. It's 10-year anniversary. Can you believe that?
Mm.
And a 9-year anniversary since he choked it away when
Max
he was
Homa,
leading.
good looking dude.
He's missed
Yeah.
the cut, miscut, tied for 53rd, withdrawn, and tied for 26th.
That's Homa.
So, his best... Oh, wait, no, that was his first year. Oh, the missed cuts are 5 in a row. Okay.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So he plus 35,000, though. That's the thing about golf, though. It's so psychological and so fucking hard that,
right.
the best players, like Tiger being able to do that is... it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking hard, mentally, physically, everything. And Scotty Scheffler, he's been balling for a while. Even think about it, Brooks Koepka, he's won 3 U.S. Opens, two British,
Three PGAs, 2 U.S. Opens.
3 PGAs, 2 U.S. Opens.
Yep.
And, he was struggling in a couple majors after that because he got hurt.
Yeah.
Rory's one of the best golfers in the world, and he hasn't won a major in 10 years. Jordan Spieth was on a Koepka run when he won that Masters.
Yep.
And he just fell off. And then Ricky Fowler, everyone does it. And, that's why it's, almost impossible to stay at the top. If you do, you're just special. You're just one of the,
It's more of a testament to how great Tiger was.
It is.
How special he was.
It is. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Maybe you always watch the Masters, right, every year?
Yes.
Every Sunday?
Yes.
So
especially the past few years, becoming friends with Ryan and all our friends are learning to golf.
Becoming friends with Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, we became friends around high school, so we've been friends for a little bit now. But especially during college, all our friends started getting into golf, and the Masters is just a great event, and it's almost like a nostalgic thing. It's a time of the year where it's sports are kind of the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs are starting, but it's sort of the main thing going on in the sports world is the Masters.
It's such a great week. We'll get into it in just a second. I promise you, if you've been tuning in to hear our college basketball recap, we're getting into it in a second. But you start with the national championship, which was yesterday, and now in 2 days' time, it's the Masters. So it's a great sports week, and then it leads into the NBA and NHL playoffs, which is it is the best time of year for sure. It's crazy too, how well they keep that golf course and how beautiful it is. It's just so aesthetically pleasing.
It is.
And then you get people competing for, the green jacket, which is probably the biggest prize in golf. Did you
hear that story about Phil with the Masters, the people who work there?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember which Masters it was, but Phil Mickelson was playing, and then there was kind of a storm, and a tree fell down kind of halfway through the fairway.
Was this a couple years ago?
It could have been. Yeah, I think it was. And the tree fell down in the middle of the fairway, and then he just goes to the green. He's still on that hole, and then he looks back, and there's tons of people already run, they're oh, get to this hole, and everyone just gets to that hole, starts getting that tree, sawing it and shit.
It was gone in 15 minutes.
It was gone by the time he got to the next tee.
Yeah,
it was crazy. They just they're working their ass off there, man.
It's crazy. And it's it's all true. I don't know if you ever heard of the stories. Maybe if there's a weed, they're on it in a second. It's the best kept golf course and prettiest, and that's why it's the lore is so much. Did you also see Maven, Jim Nantz, the 11-year retirement tour?
Yes,
I don't know if you saw this stuff, but the 100th year anniversary is in 11 years, and Jim Nantz, that's when he wants to retire.
So he announced his retirement, and now he's on a Coach K-esque retirement tour, only 11 times longer.
Wow.
Hey, shout out him though. Which is crazy too. Would be his 51st Masters in the 100th year. So that means he would be doing it for more than.
That's pretty cool. But also, you could have waited. You didn't have to make the announcement now.
Yeah, he didn't.
And it's he's up there in age, so it's also not guaranteed that he's going to make the 11 years.
Oh,
I'm not hoping it happens.
What's your over under on that?
I don't know. I feel like he's 60 or at least in his 60s, somewhere like that. So it's
he's late 60s. I think.
65.
65 years old.
76.
It's not a guarantee that he sees the 11 years.
He's not fat.
Well, no, Ryan, he's not. But
but that doesn't mean
once you get to a certain age,
you only think fat people die, Ryan.
I just feel like if you're, if you take good care of yourself, you're at least gonna reach 80. Unless there's genetic, your genetics are ass.
Sure, you could.
Do you know the scoop on his genetics?
I do not have the inside scoop on Jim Nantz genetics. No.
So if they're fire,
If they're fire, great.
Fire.
If he's
Like,
got
he's
fire
living to-
genetics,
He's living to 80.
if he's got fire genetics, then and I hope that he makes it to 80. I hope he sees a very long life. But also, like, once you hit a certain age, it's you're lucky to see the next day.
Also,
Every day is a gift.
unfortunately, Ryan, there is tragedies in this
That is
world.
true.
So.
Well, yeah, but
You
that
could get hit by a bus tomorrow, and genetics just gets thrown out the window.
yeah, any of us can. But like, I could just say like, yeah, like, I mean, I could die tomorrow too.
Exactly.
Like, so like,
But
anyone.
But
could
you're
say
not
that.
fat and old, so that doesn't make any sense.
Well, if tragedy happens,
Exactly. That's my point. You just made my point for me. Thank you.
fuck, now I'm lost.
Haf, who's your winner for this weekend?
I got Ludwig Oberg winning. I got
Where does Rory finish?
Rory's gonna finish top 10. I think the only way Rory wins is if he has like a big lead, because when it gets really close down to the back nine on Sunday. I mean, he has so much pressure.
How many strokes do you think he needs to be up by when they hit Sunday?
I'd like it to be 3.
Okay.
What about going into
But
the
it
back
also
nine?
it also depends who is behind him too. Like if it's like players that are less experienced,
Okay.
it could just be 1 or 2. Like I would be fine with that. But like I also said that again with Wyndham Clark. And Wyndham Clark, he wasn't like the golfer he was until he won that tournament. So who fucking knows, man? But I would like him to be up at least a couple strokes going into Sunday, and then I'll feel confident.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, we just brought up Jim Nantz, and obviously he was at the national title game running on his Houston Cougars.
Yep.
If you didn't watch, it was the greatest Final Four I've ever experienced, at least in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
The shout out Florida Gators. They won the national championship 65-63 over Houston. Florida beat Auburn by 6 for the second time this year to advance, and Houston pulled off a miraculous comeback against Duke. But boys, we'll start with the national championship game. What were your thoughts on last night?
I don't know. I would love to get eyes on Emmanuel Sharp this morning, just today.
Yeah.
Make
Why
sure
is
that he's okay.
Would
Why
you
is that?
would you give him a hug?
I would give him a hug. I would
Yeah.
give him some condolences. I think the fact that it's the not knowing, I think, is the hardest part to deal with. Like, not taking the shot. It did look like Clayton sort of fell asleep and then recovered very well, and it looked like he was going to block the shot.
Yeah.
But at least if you shoot it, then you know, right? The fact that he doesn't know
Right.
and it's all up in the air, that has to be eating him inside. And it was such a classy move by Walter Clayton to go
Yeah.
up after the game and console him. I do love to think that Walter Clayton went up to him and is like, "You're
Thank
a
you.
bitch, fuck you."
What if you just said go Gators?
Yeah, right.
Chomp
That'd be
chomp.
so funny. But it was an incredible game, and that was sort of Florida. Touched on it in our last pod. Like, Florida has been in those games, and it's sort of got them ready for the big moments. And they've been in these games where they're down, double digits, and they just find a way to scrap back and ultimately come out with the win. And they did it again on Monday. And it was good for the Gators. They deserved it. They were the best team going into the tournament. Faced a lot of adversity, and man, they just never gave up, never quit, and it's a hell of a run.
Hell yeah. I called that B a long time ago.
Sure,
But you got to give credit to Alexis. She called it
That's
first.
true.
I feel like.
that's true.
No, all credit to my girlfriend because that's what she wants. She wants all the credit. I don't get any of it.
But she did call first, and she's called the last two. Granted, last year was obvious,
Yeah.
but
So Alexis is the
yeah.
college
she's
basketball
all.
whisperer.
We're gonna have to have her on next year.
I need to know who her pick is next year so I can put a future down.
She's 2 for 2, man. And I won my bracket. Pretty sick. I got the finals right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Florida, Houston. I want to talk about that Duke choke job.
Yeah.
I just want to get straight to that.
Yeah,
I just want to get straight to that. They were up 14 points. They were the first team to reach 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50
Yeah,
and 60
someone
points.
bet that. You see that bet?
Yeah, I did see that. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
And then,
Twin
but he
that
added
fucking
Duke
bet.
money line too.
Yeah.
Fuck
Oh
Yeah,
no, he
yeah.
parlayed it with that.
Yeah, he
Oh,
parlayed
that
with
guy.
Duke money
We got to
line.
check on that guy, Maven.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
I was hate watching.
We have wellness checks everywhere right now. A bunch of places.
I was kind of hate watching because, like, you know, I wouldn't have, like, lost sleep if Duke won. But, like,
Yeah.
I just don't like I just wanted to see Houston. You know, I wanted to see the team that nobody really thought was going to win because, you know, Cooper Flagg, you know, Con Knipple, Malawak, they're all going to be in the NBA.
Sure.
You know, give these guys their moment. Who knows
Sure.
what's going to happen to them. And fuck yeah, man. Houston, they played their ass off. And that was such a fun game. This Final Four, this is why one seeds in the Final Four is the best.
Yeah, and it's sort of a microcosm of what makes sports great. You know, I think Duke showed everybody had the idea, and Duke showed it throughout the whole game that they're the more physically talented team, but it's not always the more physically talented team that wins it. You know, a lot of the times if you have a team that's more strong-willed and mentally prepared and has the determination and the discipline to get it done, they can beat teams that are, you know, more superior, you know, talent-wise.
Which Houston was clearly, out of all 4 teams there that weekend, they were clearly lacked the least talent.
Right.
But they have the best identity, like you said, the best culture. I
Yep.
mean, all those guys play so hard for Kelvin Sampson. I
And
mean,
it showed in the game against Duke in 2 specific areas.
Yep.
The offensive rebounds.
Yep.
You know, you look at Malawash didn't have 1 rebound the whole game. And
That's hard to believe.
Yeah. I mean, he's 7-2.
right.
It was a shocking stat after the game. And, you know, Houston, especially down the stretch, they dominated the offensive boards.
Yep.
I think there was 4 opportunities for Duke to grab a defensive rebound down the stretch, and Houston got every single one of them.
Right.
And then the free throws. You know, Tyrese Proctor missed a huge front-end one-on-one late down the stretch. And Jawan Roberts had after an insane call over the back call on Cooper Flagg.
That was a tough call.
And Jawan Roberts was able to make both of his free throws and give Houston the lead. And those 2, I mean, free throws is nothing but a mental game, and rebounding is nothing but hustle. And
Yep.
Houston showed that, hey, even if they didn't have the talent that these other teams and Duke has, you know, they have things that also impact the game as well.
What stuck out to me in that last, obviously only giving up 1 field goal in the last 10.5 minutes is insane. And
Unreal.
Obviously being down 14 with 8 minutes left. But they cut it down to 5, and then Tugler obviously had that technical foul.
Yeah.
Which that was crazy because you know obviously he came late to the inbound, and that was just like a natural reaction. Like he came there late, he's like, oh, I got to stop the ball, and
Yeah.
he literally touched it. Like you could, and then right when he did that, he knew he fucked up.
Yeah. And everybody watching the game probably had the same reaction Kelvin Sampson had. Like, what are you doing? And it seemingly ended their chances of getting back in the game.
Right.
But not so fast, my friend.
Yeah, and what was impressive, obviously, Knipple made the free throw to go up 6, and it was just over a minute 15 seconds left.
Yep.
And Houston, they stuck to their bread and butter. They played it out. Down 6, and they got the ball with 45 seconds left, and Tugler blocked the shot, went down. They didn't rush the shot. How many times do you see a team, we're down 6, we got to chuck up a shot?
Right.
Emmanuel Sharp, shout out him on Saturday at least, took his time, got the shot, made the 3 to cut the lead in half. And then the Duke, I don't know if they called a timeout. I don't think they did. Tugler was right back guarding the inbounds. They put in Wilson. Wilson got the steal.
Yeah.
We actually got a good look at 3, missed it. And then Tugler put back jam to cut it to 1.
Yep.
So even though Tugler fucked up, he made up for it in a big way. And then obviously Houston fouled, and then Proctor missed that free throw.
So tough for Tyrese Proctor. He had such a great beginning of the tournament, and he's been such a great player at Duke. But it's gonna. How could it not haunt him?
Yeah.
You know, he had an opportunity to pass that ball, and he's not a great free throw shooter. He's like a 65%.
He could have passed it to Flag,
Yeah,
right?
you could get it to Flag and Knipple got the inbounds pass to begin with, and he's a great free throw shooter. And then he evidently missed the front end of the 1-on-1, and just was the beginning of the downfall.
Just felt like nobody on that Duke team knew how to break a press.
Yeah.
It just felt like they just breezed by every opponent they played all year.
Yeah.
That's what it was. They weren't in close games all year.
Weren't in close games all year, and due to like the ACC being ass.
Right.
And they just get to the tournament and they finally play a close game and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Their coach didn't even know what to do. It looked like.
And it's
like,
that sort of adversity you can't simulate in practice. That's not something that you can just do in a practice session. You have to play through it. And you look at a team like Florida. You know, Florida played in a great conference in the SEC. Mm-hmm. They played many games in the tournament where they didn't necessarily play their best basketball, but they found ways to win, and it helped them all the way to a championship. And Duke never really faced those adversity. And when they did, I believe they were 2-4 in close games.
Yeah, Kentucky, Cooper Flagg turned it over. He slipped, and then the Clemson game, he slipped too. Mm-hmm. I thought that flag shot was going in, and I'll say this about Cooper Flagg. Obviously Duke only having one field goal in the last 10.5 minutes. He was missing shots that he was hitting.
Yeah.
And he was, I mean, it's just crazy. He was just so much better than everyone on the court.
He was.
I think I told you guys this. He is the first player that reminds me, the best college player I've ever seen is Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. I was getting ready to say Cooper Flagg's better just because he can score on all three levels more than AD did in college. AD was the best rim protector I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But obviously Duke ended up losing, but he's right behind AD for the best college player I've ever seen. But that was a great look. I thought it was going in, but I left it short. Mm-hmm. That's similar to golf half where you leave a putt short. Like if you're gonna miss it long.
Right.
That shot was short. Like it looked like it was going in, but didn't have the arc.
Yeah, only pussies leave it short. You gotta get it there. That brought my draft stock to Cooper Flagg outside of the top 10. I'm joking.
Is he undraftable?
Almost. On I don't know who's gonna pick him now. You know?
You want him to slide into the Pistons so the Pistons can get him?
It's more like the Con Knipple sweepstakes to me now. Who wants the one?
I don't hate that. I mean, I do think Con Knipple's going to be a good pro, not a great pro, but I think he is a very high floor. Like I love his game, and it was surprising to me that it didn't seem like they had a whole lot of looks for him down the stretch. I mean, obviously Flagg is your number one guy, but I feel like Knipple's sort of always been very steady. Sometimes Flagg goes through some ruts, and it seems like Knipple's just more of a steady player that you can lean on. So I was surprised they didn't go to him a bit more down the stretch, but it was an all-time comeback and all-time collapse at the same time. I can't think of anything else, not just in college basketball, but in sports quite like that. Maybe
28-3.
Maybe, that's a good one. That's a good comparable one. I was thinking, Warriors blowing the 3-1 lead, but that's over a span of a few games. But yeah, that 28-3 is the only one I can think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's. I mean, that was just. I don't know. That was just a crazy game, man. That was a crazy game. I was so happy Houston won. It won me my bracket too. Mm-hmm. That was the best part. I won $350, so that was hype. But yeah, what about the Florida Auburn game?
Another great game. I mean, it was just again a testament to how good this Florida team was. Again, they found themselves, I believe, down. Were they down 8, 9, 10 points?
Yeah, they were down
at some point.
46-38 at half, I believe.
So it happened again a time and again in this tournament for Florida where they didn't play their best basketball throughout the whole game, but they just found ways to win. Again, Walter Clayton just hit some big time shots. Mm-hmm. The one in particular where he's in the corner and he's fading away to his right.
Crazy shot.
He just whenever that team needed a bucket, he was able to provide it. Even in the championship game, he was struggling, and Houston was all over him like white on rice the whole game. But when they needed it, when they were down 70-67 with like 3 minutes to go out of the media, they came out, ran a great set to give him an open look, and when they needed the shot the most, he delivered.
Yeah, Florida. I tweeted this out last night. Just an all-time march of just closing out games.
Yeah.
He did it last night. I think it's only 3 of the game. They were down 3,
Mm-hmm.
made it 3 to tie it up. And then obviously the closeout at the end was incredible.
Yeah.
On Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I told you this last night, and obviously you're not really thinking of it in the moment, but if Sharp goes up, like Clayton was far back, he was like the only move was for Clayton to go and do what he did to fly to the ball.
Yeah.
But he was obviously in midair when Sharp was going up for the pump fake. Sharp should just went up and kind of lead into Clayton. That's
Yeah,
3
he probably
easy
gets
fouls.
free throws. Yeah.
So, but it was a great effort play by Clayton. I tweeted this out last night. They were obviously tremendous in the last 5 minutes of the tournament. They outscored UConn 21-16 in the round, obviously in the second game. In the last 4:42 after trailing 59-56, they outscored Texas Tech 20-6 to go to the Final Four in the last 3:52, trailing 73-64. They outscored Auburn 11-5 with 4:01 to go when they were up by 1, giving them a 6-point win. And then they outscored Houston 8-3 in the final 4:17. And they only had the lead for 17 seconds before they took the lead in the last minute. And in Houston's last 4 possessions, they had 4 turnovers. They turned it over 4 times in the last 2 minutes. And I believe they missed a free throw during that too. So Houston kind of reversed what happened on Saturday. But again, it was just very impressive, their effort. And obviously they were a great team. You know, they won 30 out of 31 games, I believe, or maybe it was 31 out of 32. But they were still by far had way less talent than Duke and Florida, and they were 40 seconds away from a title. So,
Yeah.
I thought, Kelvin Sampson, I think he's going to be back, and they're relentless.
Yeah, Houston's not going anywhere.
Their
They have
program's
Sharp
relentless.
coming back.
Yeah.
I
Is
believe
the only
they
one
have
leaving
Luzon
Cryer?
coming back. Yeah, Cryer's gone.
And
Juwan Roberts is gone. But they'll have a lot of guys returning, and Kelvin Sampson, he's not going anywhere, like you said. His culture is there to stay.
And they were healthy too, which as long as they're
that's been
healthy
their
down the
biggest
stretch,
Achilles heel,
right?
For sure. And just going back to the Auburn game, it was a complete. All the credit to Florida for making the comeback, but Auburn came out of the second half so flat, and it was basically a Janai, save us, Janai Broom.
And he had nothing left. I don't think he scored. And he was obviously got hurt
No,
in the
I
MSU
believe
game.
he scored maybe 15 or 18 points in the first half, and then had
he
maybe
didn't
3 in the second half.
He ended with 15, so I don't think he scored in the second half.
So I don't want to take credit away from them. They had a good year, and Bruce Pearl did a good job, but they just looked so flat coming out of the half, and their lead just evaporated just like that.
Yeah,
so,
in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and again, the credit goes to Florida, but Auburn just expected more from them. You got 20 minutes left potentially in your season, and you just come out basically with no juice. So it was disappointing to see, but it was. Mm-hmm. Again, credit to Florida. They did it time and again throughout this tournament, and responded and never gave up and stayed true to themselves. And they're obviously the best team in the country.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to shout out. Thomas Howe and Clayton in the Texas Tech game.
Mm-hmm.
Without I don't even Houck. It's hard to say. Without Houck's effort in those final few minutes against Texas Tech, I don't think they're there, even with Clayton's shots, because they got them those second opportunities.
Absolutely.
And then in the semifinal against Auburn, Elijah Martin and Clayton. Yep. Clayton at 34. Elijah Martin was obviously a good second wingman there, or second guy there. And Howe played another good game. He had 12 points. And I just feel like what Auburn didn't do is, they didn't really give the ball to Todd Pettiford that much. in that game.
He was struggling big time.
Well, he shot 1 for 5.
Yeah.
Or 1 for 6. I feel like you got to give him more shot attempts than that.
They didn't even have him on the floor down the stretch, and he just struggled big time in that game. There's a tweet that I saw, and I don't think it's a crazy take. In the championship game, is Thomas Hulk the best NBA prospect on that court? I don't think it's a crazy take.
I feel like it's Clayton.
He's a freshman, right, Hulk?
I believe so. I mean, Clayton.
Yeah, but Clayton's undersized, unfortunately.
Yeah, Clayton's
for him.
just so small.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you don't like you can't learn that that clutch gene.
Sure.
That just comes with you into the NBA. I feel.
But then in the NBA, like it's all about your role. So like, I feel like it'll be easier for Hulk to carve out a role in the NBA than it would be for Clayton.
Yeah, because Clayton's probably going to be a career backup.
I also want to shout out Will Richard in the first half against
He kept a minute
against Houston.
Yeah.
He was making those threes. Yeah. When it was like 20 to whatever.
Well, that goes to their depth. Like it obviously it was Clayton to close out those games, but in the first half last night, he had 13. He had 28 points in the first half, and he had 14. So I thought Condon was trash. Hawk should have played more.
Yeah.
But yeah, he probably is the best prospect because Houston. I mean, they have great players for their system, but not a lot of NBA guys.
Right.
And Clayton's going to be good, but I think he's just a career backup, and it's hard to project him because he's so undersized. I think Martin and Richard are going to be great 3-and-D guys.
Yeah, they could be.
But if Hawk gets,
I love Elijah Martin, man.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
He is.
He had a very good. I mean, that was his second Final Four.
He's athletic as fuck too.
And he had a very good college career. He was. I'm sure he's. All those guys in Florida, they're never going to have to buy a beer in Gainesville again.
No, never again. And it was just such a great story from them losing in the first round last year to making it and winning it all this year. It was incredible. And I was very close to jumping on the bandwagon of this being a disappointing tournament. And I think, there's an argument to be made for the first weekend. Right. The first weekend didn't really live up to expectations, but I think it was all made up by this Final Four, some great Elite Eight and Sweet 16 games as well. But this Final Four, like you said, is one of the best we've seen as of late.
And I also mentioned in that tweet thread, we might not have gotten the upsets, and that's what makes March Madness great, obviously, is the upsets. But Florida, they could have lost 4 different times.
Exactly.
And we still saw madness, even though we didn't get the upsets, and obviously that's a big factor, but we still got great games, and that's we got to see thrilling games, and
we're not going to remember those. We're not going to remember the round of 32 and round of 16. We're going to remember that Final Four.
Yeah, you remember the Cinderella, sure, but the things that stick out in your mind the most are the Final Four games and the championship game, and those teams that make it all the way to the end and win it all.
Net score in the 3 games combined, I think, was the closest ever. So,
wow.
I don't think we're still going to have Cinderella runs, and next year, but in 2015 and 2016, it was like a lot of 1 seeds and 2 seeds like that. We had the Kentucky undefeated year where they lost, and Duke was a 1 seed, I believe, and Wisconsin was a 1 seed too. So 10 years ago, it was very similar times. So, and we've gotten a lot of upsets since then. So I don't think NIL is gonna be as big of a factor. It obviously they're not gonna, those smaller schools aren't gonna probably ever win a title. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that they're not gonna go deep in the tournament ever again.
Right.
So. And these 1 seeds were historically good, and they
exactly.
proved it this weekend.
It's not going to be something that's going to be repeated again anytime soon, at least. You have these 4 teams were top 10 all-time Ken Pom teams. That's not going to happen again.
Right, exactly.
Also, did you guys know the Gators have this guy coming? He was he didn't play at all this year. He's 7'9".
Yeah, Olivier.
Yeah, we
Ryu.
talked about him.
Olivier Ryu.
You didn't believe us when we brought him up
7'9".
a month ago.
Oh, really?
It's fucking crazy.
He was cutting down the nets, and he didn't even need the ladder.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He made Condon and Hawk, who are over 7 foot, look tiny.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him near Shaq,
Like,
and
it's-
he looked tiny.
That's fucked up that a human can get that tall. But
I like when I think of like tallest people, like
Yeah.
in the NBA, I always think like 7'5", 7'6",
7'9",
like the
This guy's
Yao Ming,
insane. Yeah.
like the Yao Ming 7'6". Who else is like?
Think
that?
about it. He would tower over Wemby.
yeah, Wemby's towers over everyone.
Right.
This guy's pushing.
And he's
8
like
feet.
he's not like lanky either. He's like built. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be
No,
crazy.
he's
Yeah,
be-
Florida.
Todd Golden's. He's building a hell of a program over there, and
Good guy.
And
Great
he's young.
coach. No scandals
No,
whatsoever.
not at all.
Just a good overall
Pro-
well-rounded guy.
Probably a better coach though than a person, right? Maybe.
Probably.
I was gonna tell you guys this, but I was saving for the pod. Obviously, the last time Florida won a national championship, they went back to back. Their coach Billy Donovan, obviously now in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's maybe give it 2-3 years. Golden will have a head coaching gig in the NBA.
You think so?
Yeah,
Mm.
he's young. I mean, they just call him an analytical wizard, a great coach.
Mm.
I think it's just a matter of time before he's in the NBA.
There's the Nuggets job just opened up.
Yeah, and the Grizz.
That'd be funny.
That'd be insane.
Funny. Did you guys see Kelvin Sampson like during that play, the final play?
He couldn't believe it.
He just like didn't move for like
Yeah, he was
30
in shock.
seconds.
He
like
was in shock.
he was just letting it. It was just sad to see him.
It was
because
And
like
it's-
he wants it. He's getting old.
Yeah, he's a great coach, and again, I don't think Houston's going anywhere. They're gonna have a good team again next year, but man, it's
But to be up for they were up 30 minutes of the game. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
maybe 30 plus.
yeah.
They controlled the majority of the game, but it's crazy. Like what they did on Saturday, it was a reverse on Monday, and sometimes
Exactly.
that's just the way it goes. And
Yeah.
like we said, that's how good these teams were.
Yeah, go Gators.
Chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp.
Anything else, boys?
I think I'm all good.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Are we all good? Oh yeah, we had a great episode here today. We got the Masters coming up. Final Four national championship is behind us. We got the NBA and the NHL playoffs coming up. We got Masters. We got the NFL draft coming up. We're going to be talking about that next week. We got a lot coming up, boys. It's going to be fun.
The sports never ends.
Sports never ends. Great episode. My name is Ryan Heffernan.
Tristan Maven.
Chris Bean, COYG, go Gunners. Shout out Nate.
Yep. And once again, if you guys are not following Loose Balls Pod 1, TikTok and YouTube, we post daily. We appreciate the support if you guys continue to listen to us throughout the day. And this will be dropping tomorrow. So you guys have a happy and wonderful Wednesday. Deuces.
Deuces.
Peace and happiness.